13-1. The Steelers are 10-6. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 touchdown passes, 29 of 38, 320 yards. He connected with 3 different receivers, including Travis Kelce, who broke the Chiefs' record for touchdown receptions. It was his 77th scoring reception. That broke the record set by Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Coupled with Baltimore's 31-2 rout on the road at Houston, Pittsburgh drops to second in the AFC North. They're 10-6-0, while Baltimore's 11-5-0. Lamar Jackson broke the NFL career rushing record for quarterbacks. Baltimore has already wrapped up their 3rd straight playoff berth. They need a win over Cleveland next week to win the division. The Steelers wrap things up with a home game against the Bengals. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter
because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
Off and running in today's edition of Football Full Circle, right here on the SportsGrid Radio Network, Sirius Channel 159. Joe Lisi and George Kurtz taking you around the NFL. For the next hour, we'll take a look at the Week 17 games on tap, but we'll take a look back at yesterday's matchups. 2 games on Christmas Day. We saw the Kansas City Chiefs dominate 29-10 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce step up yet again, solidify that number 1 overall seed. And then in the nightcap, we saw Lamar Jackson in Baltimore run all over Houston, 31-2. They dominate, now an 11-5 football team. We also saw Lamar Jackson break Michael Vick's total rushing record at 6,116 yards in that matchup. He went on about a 48-yard touchdown run. So, George, before we dive into the Week 17 slate, I want to get your thoughts about the performance yesterday by Kansas City and, more importantly, the performance by Lamar Jackson dominating Houston yesterday afternoon.
Well, I think it's very impressive to put it the least, right, about Kansas City here. They're going to be the number 1 seed here, and we sort of knew that coming in anyway. But they have a team now, I guess, we want to say to beat because they're playing better, right? From a gambling perspective, earlier on this season, we were like, all right, they're winning, but they're not covering. Now they're winning, covering, and destroying people. So they look like they're getting better. They're going to have and now Andy Reid has to decide, Joe, all right, do you want to take a week off, 2 weeks off? I mean, they can literally take, almost a month off for that. They'll worry about the next important game here. So they'll have to decide that, too. Get Mahomes healthy. Ankle healed miraculously. Chris Jones missed the game yesterday, so we'll get him back fully healthy here. So they're in a really good spot. And you wanted the number 1 seed in the AFC. This way you don't have to play Buffalo and Baltimore, right? You only got to play one. Right? Theoretically, you only got to play one, assuming one of them gets on to you. So that's the difference between those two. Baltimore and Buffalo, like they're going to have to play each other at some point and then go to Kansas City. So very big win for Kansas City. Baltimore sort of did what we thought they would do, right? Houston, nothing to play for. They're going to be the 4th seed. They've been playing like, let's face it, they've been playing like crap for a while now. This is a team that, I don't want to say they're only making the playoffs because of a weak division, but they may only be making the playoffs because it's a weak division. They don't have much left in the passing game. It's Nico Collins or bust here. I don't know what Deontay Johnson's going to do when he's healthy. We don't see this generally work out all that often in the NFL where a player comes in and all of a sudden he's really good. So we'll see. Work in progress for Houston here, but very impressive by Baltimore.
Yeah, it was, and we'll get into that in just a second. But to your point about Kansas City, what was most impressive is that Chris Jones was out of that lineup. right? And a lot of people thought that Russell Wilson and that offense would be able to run the football with Najee Harris, work off a play action, and potentially strike the upset, even though they were within striking distance in the first half. Second half comes away, and Pat Mahomes just pulls away in terms of the passing attack. Xavier Worthy has been now a consistent performer over the past few weeks. We've seen Marquise Hollywood Brown get involved, and they can run it when they have to as good as anybody. And that's the biggest takeaway now, is that they're starting to peak heading into the playoffs. And you mentioned it. They could take off 2 or 3 weeks before they have their first round game. All roads lead through Arrowhead. And, we talk about Kansas City. Throughout the regular season, you could say they weren't doing it flashy, but all they do is win, George. And now in the postseason, when you have Pat Mahomes under center, they're a difficult out, especially to knock off in Arrowhead.
Yeah, it's not going to be any fun playing in Kansas City in January. We know that. It's going to be brutal weather. We saw that last year, right? It was with all the frostbite and everything that was going on there. And, I fully admit, Joe, I don't think Kansas City's the best team in the AFC, right? I think that might be Buffalo. Maybe it's Baltimore. But they win. They know how to win. Pat Mahomes knows how. It doesn't matter who's healthy, who's not. He knows how to win. All right? Then we've been playing all season long, right? Oh, Travis Kelce, he's old, he's slow, but he catches balls, right? He's doing yak yesterday catching against Pittsburgh. That was actually kind of funny. Hollywood Brown does seem to have added another dimension to this offense, right? Another good receiver. And, Joe, we got to figure Brown and Mahomes are only going to get better, right? Only going to get better as they practice more. So it's scary. It's a good running game with Jacob Hunt. I mean, everything is coming together at the right time for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, let's take a look at Pittsburgh, because we thought Russell Wilson, or a lot of people thought that Russell Wilson was the answer in terms of evolving the passing attack. He had some great performances, most notably the 414-yard performance where they dominate Cincinnati, right? Since that time, he's only averaged basically about 167 passing yards per game. They've lost now 3 straight. George Pickens was back in that lineup. They can't muster more than 10 points, George. Let me ask you, they lose next week and they limp into the playoffs. Do you make a quarterback switch potentially moving on from Russell Wilson, or do you just go and just allow Russ to see how far he can take this team?
Wow. He's not playing well. I don't think there's any doubting that. He's not playing terrible, but he's not playing winning football. He had that big fumble last week against Philadelphia, right? Where he made the great run and then fumbled at the 3-4 yard line, whatever it might have been there. That can't happen. Yes, they had another red zone turnover here through that pick. What are you doing, Russ? What were you seeing there? That you thought you could fit that ball in? So he's not making great decisions here. Maybe once again he's feeling the pressure of trying to win, but it's Russell Wilson. He's won a Super Bowl, should have won another. So that shouldn't really be bothering him that much. Maybe he's feeling the pressure of trying to, for a job because he's a free agent. He wants another long-term contract. There's going to be a lot of pressure going on there, but he's not playing all that well right now. And you mentioned the key thing. Pickens came back yesterday. That was the crutch we sort of gave him the last couple of weeks, right? All right, no Pickens. With him in the lineup, you were a top 10 offense. Without him, the numbers say you're a bottom 10. Right? You had him back yesterday. Things didn't improve all that much. So to answer your question, boy, no, I don't think they're going to make a switch. I don't. Do I think there could be a package for Fields? Sure. They'll have someone have nothing. If they do lose again next week, they'll have nothing to lose in the wild card round, right? They won't be favored. Who they play here? They'll be the 5th seed. Actually, they would play Houston. I mean, that's a great matchup for the Steelers. The one team that you might be able to take advantage of. So I'm going to say no, they wouldn't make that switch. Not before the game. Maybe in game if he's not playing well.
All right, we'll see how that game plays out if they do meet up in terms of a wild card situation. I do want to ask about Lamar Jackson. Now this team is hitting on all cylinders. Offensively, Derrick Henry, another dominant performance. Lamar's doing it through the air. He's doing it on the ground. Not to take away from what Lamar has brought to the table in terms of leading this team to an 11-win season so far. But can we really say that it's an MVP type of season? Are we really putting him on the same level this season with Josh Allen? I mean, he's got 5 losses, George. How is Lamar Jackson being mentioned in the MVP talk when Josh Allen only has 3 losses, has lit up almost every team, has accounted for some things that we've never seen out of the quarterback position, and we're going to put Lamar back into the MVP race when they have 5 losses on the regular season?
Well, this is going to depend on your definition of MVP. All right. And we see this in all sports, by the way. What's your definition here? If we're going by numbers, well, Lamar Jackson's, his numbers dwarf Allen's. He's better than every category, every one. So, and by the way, this is nothing against Josh Allen, who's had a fantastic season. Right. But if you're going by numbers, it's Lamar Jackson. All right. It's not even all that close. If you're going by valuable, well, then it's probably Josh Allen, right? Because we come into the season, he's got no receivers. My God. No, Diggs is gone. Gabriel Davis is gone. We don't know what Shakir, who? You're sort of like that for Coleman, okay, but they should have drafted Worthy. They should have never made that trade with the Chiefs here, right? We're going on and on and on about this. And the one guy that we liked coming in, at least that I like, I have a ticket on him to get over 6.5 touchdowns. That's not happening, is Dalton Kincaid, right? We loved him. Yeah. Well, that didn't happen either. All right, it's been all Josh Allen using. And remember they told us, Joe, he's not going to run as much this year. No, we're going to protect him in his legs. Yeah, okay. Get the hell out of here. That didn't happen. James Cook has been great here. I mean, it depends upon your definition here. I mean, Joe Burrow, if they were in the playoffs, would be right in this conversation as well. All right. It's close. All right. It's close. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not calling them gutless, Joe, if they vote for Lamar Jackson. I'm not, if they vote for Josh Allen. I'm not. I think it's been great. They've opened great seasons between both of these players.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. When we come back, we'll dive into the Week 17 slate with tonight's action, Seattle and Chicago, coming up next.
Out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on SportsGrid, and we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin.
He just gives that 5.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Pre-construction work to collect data to design a new Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore is scheduled to begin in January. With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The Baltimore Sun reports that work is scheduled to include topographic and underwater surveys as well as soil sampling. The bridge collapsed March 26 after a container ship lost power and crashed into one of its supporting columns, sending 6 members of a roadwork crew plunging to their deaths. Demolition is expected in the spring. The rebuilding effort is expected to take nearly 4 years and cost about $2 billion. Former Philadelphia Eagles running back Wendell Smallwood Jr. has pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges after he was accused of submitting fraudulent tax returns and applications for hundreds of thousands of dollars in COVID-19 pandemic aid programs. The signed plea agreement was approved on Friday by a federal judge in Delaware. Smallwood faces sentencing in May on the 3 fraud charges. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Love spreading joy with gifts this time of year, but I try not to spread my budget too thin. Luckily, Kohl's has come through for me once again. I just went and used a 25% off coupon to score so many great gifts under $20, like cozy pajamas and fleece, amazing gift sets, and beauty must-haves. So if you're looking to give more for less this season, get to Kohl's. Select styles, offers end December 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's the land of the free and the home of student drivers ready to back into your new fence at any given time. It's firing up a round of burgers and dogs on your rusty grill with a faulty gas line that engulfs your tool shed in flames. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
There's something you should know and always remember.
SportsGrid does not increase luck.
We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck,
go find a horseshoe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
Back on Football Full Circle, Lisi and Kurtz breaking down week number 17 in the NFL. We'll take a look at tonight's game. Seattle, 4.5-point road favorites over the Chicago Bears. George, Chicago has lost 9 straight. They have no offense of identity now with Thomas Brown as the interim head coach. Caleb Williams still struggling in the offense. And you have a Seattle team fighting for a playoff berth, laying 4.5. 42.5 is the total. Going to be a little bit balmy in the air. I like the Seahawks tonight.
Well, it's hard not to like the Seahawks tonight. No Kenneth Walker, right? He's out with the was it ankle injury, whatever he's out with.
Yeah.
So it'll be a big Charbonneau night, and I'll be on Charbonneau. I think Charbonneau's going to do well tonight. Although the Chicago's defense is decent, but not against the run here. So I'll be on Charbonneau tonight. Last week I was a little worried about Geno in the passing game. Geno was coming back from that injury, right? That took him out of the game the week before. So how was he going to play? Played very well. Very well. The problem for me, Joe, with Geno all year long has been the red zone. He's been great between the 20s. He gets in the red zone. He's like, I don't know. Is he seeing ghosts? He's throwing picks. He's making bad decisions. It's been frustrating. Frustrating from a prop perspective. He got over his 1.5 touchdowns, Seattle's overs, whatever it might be. Hey, if you're in a fantasy league and you had him, I know you've been going bouncing off the walls as he's missed those touchdowns here. I think he sort of rectifies that tonight. I do. So I'm not worried about the Seattle offense. I think you play your normal guys here. You want to go with Geno, you want to go with Smith Dunajee, but I would certainly take JSN over DK Metcalf for any props here. I'm good with that. Charbonneau, like I said, I'll be big on the running back. Caleb Williams, this is where we do the damn lies and statistics. All right. Last couple of games, he's been actually okay here, right? Last 5 games, by the way, he's thrown 10 touchdowns, Joe. 10 touchdowns, 2 a game. We'll take that.
They've been getting blown out, George. They've been getting blown out. That's the problem.
Well, see, the problem is, though, over his last 9 games, he's also thrown 10 touchdowns. Okay, so I don't know who you're going to get tonight. All right? Now, you and I talked during the break. What's the weather going to be like in Chicago, Thursday night? 44, maybe a little rainy. Not terrible. Actually, for this time of year, I think you're taking that running here. So I think Caleb's going to be a solid tonight. I think it's going to be solid. I don't think the game is going to be a massive blowout. All right? It's hey, it's the day after Christmas. I think they can keep it somewhat close here. I think we're going to get the over. I think we're going to get points here. I'm going to be on Chicago and the over. Bigger play on the over.
Really? You're taking the Bears. Okay. All right. I got to give you a lot of guts. That's unbelievable. I can't do it, even though they're playing at home, George. I understand the look. I probably will take it from an in-game perspective in terms of Seattle. I am on the over. Now, when you talk about Zach Charbonnet and the rushing attack, right, the offensive line has been very consistent in terms of the running game. They wore down Arizona a couple weeks ago. He breaks out for 131 yards on the ground. Then last week, the passing attack did get going. JSN has 6 receptions, 95 yards. They go toe-to-toe with, Sam Darnold in that offense. Can't pull it out. They lose a close game. They've lost 2 straight. They finish now with Chicago and the LA Rams, both on the road. I think they look to jump up early, put the pressure on Caleb to play from behind. The biggest thing for Chicago is that even though in the early part of the year they were very good at home, this team has struggled now getting up early. They're always playing from behind, double digits, a touchdown. That has put a lot of pressure on the offensive line. I think the one player that you could turn to from Chicago's side, it's not DJ Moore. It's not Keenan Allen. I think it's short throws. How about Cole Kmet tonight? 17.5 receiving total.
Cole Kmet, the guy's been up and down. It's not all his fault. Once again, Caleb Williams. We just don't know what kind of who he's going to bring tonight. But 17.5, I mean, he can literally get that in one catch. And I love bets like that, by the way. Any that can be nailed in one catch. And as much as I think Chicago could keep this close, I don't think they're going to be, in the game. I'm probably looking for a late cover. I'm probably looking for a back door. I fully admit that. So what I'm trying to say is they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, right? They got to keep up. They got to be throwing the ball here. Cole Kmet, for those who are wondering here, he hasn't reached this total, by the way, since week 13 against Detroit. Last couple of weeks, he's 0-14-9. Not very good here. That being said, there was a while there, especially early in the season. He was fantastic, right? He went on a 6-week run where he would crush us every week here. He should be a big part of that offense. I am with you here. That's where I'm going with this. I like this bet as well here. As I keep saying, I think Gaines is going to say it. Chicago's going to be throwing the ball more than running the ball, maybe a 65-35 split here because they will be trailing here, which will give Kmet the opportunity. And more importantly, while I won't be happy, even if in the fourth quarter I don't have this bet yet, I know there's a chance. All right, there's a chance at any time here. I'll take the garbage time. Right, I'll take the garbage time where he gets on the last drive. We saw that yesterday with Najee Harris, right, on the running attack there for Pittsburgh. I don't care when I win the bet. I just want to win the bet.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. Caleb, 215.5. You got Geno, 248.5. Which one you jumping on? I would probably say it is Caleb because if they are trailing, they're going to be in catch-up mode. Geno on the road does scare me in terms of getting over that number, 250. I mean, do we really believe they're going to attack through the air or on the ground with Charbonnet?
I think they're going to want to attack Rashard more than Gino here, mainly because Chicago's better against the pass than they are against the run. Also, the game script that you and I both sort of believe here is Chicago being up. That leads to more running, right? Second half, let's run the ball, get the hell out of here, get our 10 days rest, and rest up for the Rams in Week 18, which could be for the division here. So I would understand that. Caleb, we're going to have to throw the football, right?
Yeah.
Catch up, keep in the game here. So I'm with you. I think it'll be more of a Caleb. Once again, I am not talking large bets here. I don't feel great about that. I don't feel great about any of these bets, by the way. But, hey, it's the only game tonight. I'm an NHL guy. There's no hockey tonight. So guess what I'm betting? All right, it'll be a heavy NFL game. And as you just said, by the way, there'll be a lot of in-game bets. I guarantee you this. This will be the only game on. You're focusing on it. You'll be able to see how the game is going, how you feel the game is going. Okay, they can't run the ball tonight. It's going to be a lot of passing. Let's go hit our in-game passing props here. That's how this game's going to be attacked by me. I can guarantee it. I'm going to have, a half dozen pregame bets, and then there'll be a whole lot of in-game bets from watching the game and seeing how it's progressing here. But pregame, I do like Caleb. He has to get over that total. Because, Joe, if he doesn't, then this is probably a massive blowout.
And the under probably comes in then at 42.5. It's juiced to the under right now at minus 118. You want to take it right now on FanDuel, it's minus 104. I mean, another way to play it, if you do believe it's a feeling out process in terms of the first quarter, see if you get a scoreless 8 or 9 minutes, you might be able to pick up that total potentially in the high 30s. When George and I return, we'll break down some of the biggest slates in terms of week number 17 right here on Football Full Circle.
There's smart.
And there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Keep it here.
And win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
In 1919, the Yankees and Red Sox reach an agreement to trade for Babe Ruth.
Ruth lets go the fatal throw, and the Babe socks it into the bleachers for his first homer of the series.
The Red Sox received $125,000 from the Yankees, but the deal altered baseball history, and the fate of two franchises was forever intertwined. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Chinese researchers have created a robot that can identify plants just by touching them. Mimicking the delicate touch of human skin, identifying plant species with 97% accuracy, sensing moisture and texture machine vision can't see. The goal? An army of robot farm workers tirelessly monitoring, fertilizing, and applying pesticide to individual plants 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, increasing crop yields. Even identifying dangerous plant species.
That would be poison ivy.
Follow me at G. Capalbo on X, and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Moneyline. This is what home field advantage is for. Freezing cold temperatures in front of your own fans against a team that's not used to playing in freezing cold temperatures. We've talked about the SEC wanting to see them play in northern environments for 50 years, but they just don't do it. It was great to see it because, yes, it is real. Southern kids going to play at a northern school and get hammered here. Same thing with SMU.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Wherever you go,
there you are.
Download the SportsGrid mobile app and we'll be right there with you.
So now you can get the winning edge
anywhere, even while the wife's talking to you.
if you've got an earbud.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
All right, back on Football Full Circle, breaking down the Week 17 slate. George and I both took a look at the Chicago-Seattle game tonight. We both believe there'll be points. 42.5 is the in-game total. I like Seattle. George is taking the points with the Seahawks. George, another intriguing game. Cincinnati and Denver, right? Cincinnati needs this game. Denver doesn't really need to win it because now with Kansas City locked up the number one overall seed, they potentially can knock off Kansas City in their house. Week number 18 with potentially Carson Wentz and a bunch of backups. -3 is the in-game, not the in-game number, but the spread right now on FanDuel. Flat 3, -178 on the money line. The total, George, 49.5. With a game that potentially has playoff implications to me, that seems like a high number entering week number 17.
It is, and some of the air has been taken out of this. You mentioned why, right? Kansas City winning yesterday, they clinched, which means they're not playing. I don't see Mahomes playing next week. Maybe a Carson Wentz, Chris Jones probably not playing, Travis Kelce. I mean, all these guys probably aren't playing or playing a very limited role. I'm not saying Kansas City can't win. Carson Wentz is a decent backup, no matter what we think about him. It could happen. But I won't be betting on it, let's put it that way. So, yeah, Cincinnati, Miami, Indianapolis all taking a little blow here as far as they thought. They thought they still had a chance here. And by the way, everybody who's all nuts for Cincinnati, I got news for you. They weren't getting in anyway. All right, they needed a loss from Indianapolis. Anyone think Indianapolis is losing to the Giants this week? Really? You think they're going to lose that? And if they don't lose that, by the way, where's that loss coming from? All right, because they don't play anybody. I think their last week of the season, they play a nobody as well here. So the Colts were looking they were the team that I think was going to get in. All right, week 18, come on here. If it ever comes up, I'll let you know who they're playing, but it's not there. But I know it was somebody terrible, probably Jacksonville. How about that? So I think the Colts are going to get in anyway. Anyway, this weekend, I think the Bengals still win. All right, they're gonna want to put on a show. Burrow and Chase want to set records. All right, there's very little doubt in my mind here. I just don't know if Denver's going to score enough points here, even against that Cincinnati defense, which is playing a little better of late, by the way. Are they going to score enough points to get over that 40? You're probably going to need Cincinnati to get 28 to 31 minimum to get our over here. I like Cincinnati's team total over better.
Do you? See, here's the thing. I understand Denver gave up a ton of yards to LA and Justin Herbert a couple weeks ago, right? About 10 days ago. I get that. But are we expecting Cincinnati to just put up automatically 40 points on this defense this weekend? I just don't see that. I mean, I expect Denver comes in more methodical, want to run the football with the three-headed running back that they have in terms of Javonte Williams, Estime, McLaughlin, that trio, right? They want to run the football, sustain drives. We know Bo Nix can't really get into a shootout consistently with Joe Burrow. So knowing that, 49.5, you're starting out 30 to 20 right from the get-go. I mean, I sort of like maybe a team total under on Denver in terms of this matchup.
I don't mind that. My problem is Cincinnati's defense, and the defense has played better for Cincinnati, so that helps your team total over under there. I don't know if I want to bet it, though, and I don't feel great about it. Once again, this is probably more of a prop game for me. I like Cincinnati's team total. I think they're going to score points. I just do. All right, it's at home. I think they're going to want to put on a show here. I think Burrow and Chase want to set records here, or at least whatever they can do here. So I think they're going to put on a show. The problem for the total over is I don't know if Denver can score 20. You know, it's tough, and I don't know. Denver's defense is good, so I don't think this is. I don't see Cincinnati scoring 40, not unless Bo Nix is throwing pick sixes. All right, but if it's a normal game here, I can see Cincinnati getting into that 27 range. You know, which means to get our over, we need 23. You know, even if you want to put 31, as you said, then we need 20 points from Denver. That's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask here. So
that's why I like the under. And I'm always
like the under 12.
Right.
I like the under as well here. I'm with you.
And here's another game, the NFC West battle. Cardinals, Rams. Last time they played in Arizona, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison put on a show. I think it was week 3. They blow out the Rams 41-10. Now you come back home, the Rams are on an absolute heater right now. They've won basically 8 of the last 10 games in terms of their schedule. They solidified themselves as having the inside track right now in terms of the NFC West. Arizona eliminated last week with the loss to Carolina. 47.5, George. 47.5. Fast track. I love the over in this game.
I am with you here. I wouldn't use the word love for me only because Kyler Murray, up, down, up, down. I just don't know what I'm going to get for him. But I expect points to be scored here. Murray, run the ball. Run the ball, Murray. That's been the problem. He doesn't run enough. He's most athletic quarterback outside of Lamar Jackson in the NFL. Run, son.
We'll come back. We'll talk about that game and the rest of the games on Week 17.
The winning edge. You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The Chiefs beat the Steelers 29-10 Christmas Day. Kansas City improves to 15-1. The Steelers are 10-6. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 touchdown passes, 29 of 38, 320 yards. He connected with 3 different receivers, including Travis Kelce, who broke the Chiefs' record for touchdown receptions. It was his 77th scoring reception. That broke the record set by Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Coupled with Baltimore's 31-2 rout on the road at Houston, Pittsburgh drops to second in the AFC North. They're 10-6-0, while Baltimore's 11-5-0. Lamar Jackson broke the NFL career rushing record for quarterbacks. Baltimore has already wrapped up their 3rd straight playoff berth. They need a win over Cleveland next week to win the division. The Steelers wrap things up with a home game against the Bengals. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
You're listening to SportsGrid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app.
Face it.
The winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
All right, continuing the conversation, week number 17. George and I both left off with the NFC West battle, Rams and Cardinals. And George, you were very critical, and I agree with you in terms of the assessment of Kyler Murray. Doesn't run as much. We haven't seen him take games over the way Lamar has or Josh Allen with his legs. The other thing, too, is in terms of the passing attack, I see Kyler Murray time and time again break down, drop back, and he drops back so far that his only throw sometimes is underneath to Trey McBride. He can't get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., Wilson, any of the wide receivers on the outside because he's continuing to retreat on almost each and every passing play. I actually think he's regressed this year.
Oh, I think that's fair. I think I say maybe be kind. When you look at Murray, so you watch these games, and your first thing you think is, this is not a franchise quarterback. It's just not. I think they're going to move on from him after next season. That's when they can the cap hit really gets lower level here, and they can survive it. I think this next year will be his last year in Arizona, unless he has a big year. The fact that he hasn't had the chemistry with Harrison, I mean, listen, Harrison, Odunze, Neighbors, the odds of all 3 of them becoming superstars was not good. Maybe Harrison's going to be that guy who's not going to be good. Maybe he was overrated because of his father. Who knows? But it just hasn't looked good, Joe. Harrison has looked like he's not a major part of the game plan, or he has no chemistry with Murray. And it's not like he was hurt during training camp. Okay, they didn't get a time to work together. The chemistry, okay, it'll be next. They've had plenty of time. It hasn't looked good.
I agree.
I think to your point, though, when you said it almost looks like he's running away from the offensive line sometimes because it's poor. It's not good. And he's afraid. He doesn't want to get hit. So he's running away from them before, as part of the normal play here. So maybe you got to get that fixed too. I think there's a lot of issues here with Arizona in the passing game. But I said Murray has not looked well. And I'm just surprised. With Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen, they not only do they scramble when plays break down, but they also have designed run calls for them. It seems like with Kyler Murray, we don't get that. Does he not want to run the ball? I wonder if that's part of it. We did hear that before, right? Maybe 2 years ago, that he doesn't want to be known as a running quarterback. He wants to be a quarterback. That's fine. We'll fine and good. But the fact that you can run means there should be designed runs for you to take advantage of those skills. Right? You're extremely athletic here. So it just, for me, I've been disappointed because I expected more from Kyler Murray.
Now, I will say this. When you look at this spread, right, 6.5, even though I love the Rams, Arizona as a road dog has been pretty spunky. They covered earlier against the Bills week 1, covered earlier against San Francisco on the road. They covered against the Miami Dolphins and won the game outright. Plus 6.5, George. I probably would take the points with Arizona. I know that sounds crazy, but maybe they're a little bit upset, frustrated that they dropped that game to Carolina. I'm not saying they win it outright, but potentially maybe this is a 3 or a 4-point game.
I don't think they win it outright. So I'm certainly not betting that. I'm just looking at a couple of things here because before I make a final decision on this game, it's minus 320 when they get the Rams. Can't do that either. I'm going to want to know about Connor and Benson. All right, both got banged up last week. They both practiced at a limited capacity yesterday, so we'll see what they do today. It'll be important for me. I mean, obviously, I'd rather have Connor back, but that running game needs to work. No running game, then I think this could be a blowout here. I'm going to like Nakua's props. His receptions is probably 6.5. I'm probably going to take it. I'll take the over there. I'm sort of with you. Right now, I am cautiously leaning on taking the points here, but I need to hear about Connor and or Benson before I make any final decisions. Because as much as you said, okay, maybe, hey, they got eliminated last week, they'll play harder. Oh, maybe they're just done. They got eliminated last week, they're disappointed, and they barely show up this week. But it is a division game. I do think they show.
Yeah, let's see what happens in regards to that matchup. I'll just say this. Trey McBride, one of the most underrated tight ends. I mean, you talk about Travis Kelce. Trey McBride is a player we don't talk enough about. They get him the football early and often. Haven't been able to find him pay dirt. Maybe it's pay dirt against the Rams this weekend. How about this one? Tampa Bay, big game. Lose to Dallas, step-up spot. They went toe-to-toe, had everything in front of them. They lose 26-24, laying 8.5 against a divisional opponent in Carolina that's coming off a big win. That seems like a huge number, George.
And Carolina has played well, right? I mean, I agree. They didn't play well against the Cowboys. They laid an egg there, but they should have beaten Tampa Bay the last time they played. That was the overtime game where Chuba Hubbard fumbled the ball. Right. They were in field goal range. That game was going to be over. All right, they were going to win that. They beat Arizona last week. They almost beat Kansas City the week before that. I mean, they're playing well. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm with you. I'm taking the points here. 8.5. It's funny how it worked out, right? You bench Bryce Young, you go to Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, then he gets into a car accident. Glad him and his family are great. Puts Bryce Young back in there, and all of a sudden, maybe you do have a franchise quarterback. Maybe you do have a franchise quarterback. So good for the young man. Joe, it's different than you and I growing up, right? Where quarterbacks were given 3-4 years to learn behind the starter. Now, hey, week 1, let's go, figure it out. And we rush these guys. If you don't figure it out, we're ready to move on. We are the microwave society here, right? We're ready to move on to the next guy. So good for Bryce Young. Hopefully he is that guy. It's Carolina will have a decision to make. Are we drafting a quarterback? Is he our guy? We drafting the next best player? Yeah, I don't think they're drafting a quarterback either here. Give me Carolina on the points.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, can we get through this 48.5? I mean, it suggests that we can because it's Bryce and it is Baker. But again, how does Tampa Bay approach this? They're now tied with Atlanta. They need to win this game. This is more of a playoff game than it is anything else. They should have picked up that game against Dallas. You got a Herculean effort out of Cooper Rush and your Cowboys. Do they look to run the football with Bucky Irvin and Rashad White? So under.
This is a sort of they have to win the game. You're absolutely right? And you got to do what it means to win the game. But in the back of their mind, they want to get Mike Evans that 1,000 yards too. So I still think it's going to be a big game for Mike Evans, and you can pass on Carolina. All right, so I think it's going to be a big game for Evans and Mayfield. They'll run enough with Irving to make sure, we eat the clock here, we win the game. I think they'll win the game. I just don't think they'll cover. I'm going to go. I'm going to be on Evans. I'm the first person to tell you, by the way, I had the same bets last week against Dallas. Evans to score a touchdown. Evans is over. Neither one came in. All right. They took their shots. They didn't hit last week. They'll hit this week. They have to hit this week because this is a must. As you said, this is a must-win game for them. Can't lose this. Give me Tampa Bay to win the game, but they don't cover you. Mike Evans would be my favorite prop. Irving will almost certainly be an anytime touchdown prop.
248.5 for Baker, 223.5 for Young. Which one are you taking? I probably would take Young.
Baker.
At 220.
I'm taking Baker.
You're taking Baker?
I'm taking Baker. Right. Young might get there too. I'm not saying Young won't get there, but of the two choices you just gave me, I'll take Baker.
All right. Here's another one that I found intriguing, one that I'm a little nervous on. I like the Browns plus the 6.5 over Miami. I'm not sold on Miami on the road. 39.5 total. I sort of like the over, George.
Let's look at the weather here. We all know Tua does not play well in the cold. But hey, 50 degrees. 50 degrees in Cleveland. That's good for Tua. Cleveland said earlier today, by the way, that Dorian Thompson, DTR, is going to start again.
Okay.
Miami.
Really?
I'm sorry. If it was Jameis Winston, I would feel different. I would probably be right there with you. It's DTR? No, Miami. Give me Miami. I'll take Jerome Ford. I'll take his props. I would take Njoku, assuming Njoku plays well. By the way, we're going to want to keep an eye on that as well here. But no, I'm not betting anything. I'm not betting anything positive on DTR, with the exception that I'm positive he'll throw an interception. How about that?
I like the 245 money line. How about that? I'm going to take a shot. I'm not sold on the Dolphins anyway. We'll see how that game plays out. The game of the week in the NFC, Minnesota dogs to the Green Bay Packers. Pack minus 1.5 on the road, minus 116. Total is 48.5. Last time they played, Sam Darnold threw for 4 touchdowns. That was the game that Jordan Love, I believe, in mop-up duty in the fourth quarter, put up 3 touchdowns and 389 yards. I lean to Green Bay, but I love the over.
Well, I'm going to find out my decision after the break here. But this is the game of the day here. One of only 2 4 o'clock games on Sunday here. Remember, they flexed out Dallas, Philadelphia to put this Green Bay, Minnesota. Should be a fantastic game.
We'll come back and break it down. Keep it where it is.
We're not saying every SportsGrid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Pre-construction work to collect data to design a new Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore is scheduled to begin in January. With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The Baltimore Sun reports that work is scheduled to include topographic and underwater surveys as well as soil sampling. The bridge collapsed March 26 after a container ship lost power and crashed into one of its supporting columns, sending 6 members of a roadwork crew plunging to their deaths. Demolition is expected in the spring. The rebuilding effort is expected to take nearly 4 years and cost about $2 billion. Former Philadelphia Eagles running back Wendell Smallwood Jr. has pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges after he was accused of submitting fraudulent tax returns and applications for hundreds of thousands of dollars in COVID-19 pandemic aid programs. The signed plea agreement was approved on Friday by a federal judge in Delaware. Smallwood faces sentencing in May on the 3 fraud charges. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Love spreading joy with gifts this time of year, but I try not to spread my budget too thin. Luckily, Kohl's has come through for me once again. I just went and used a 25% off coupon to score so many great gifts under $20, like cozy pajamas and fleece, amazing gift sets, and beauty must-haves. So if you're looking to give more for less this season, get to Kohl's. Select styles, offers end December 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Do you lay awake at night worrying about what to buy everyone on your holiday list? Well, Skechers is here for a holiday rescue with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the right gift for everyone on your list. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching your shoes, no retying laces. Plus, Skechers slip-ins are perfect for everyone. Moms, dads, grandparents, kids, friends, coworkers, and they're the most comfortable shoes they'll ever wear. Find them for the holidays at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Ask any player and they'll tell you any advantage is important.
That's where we come in.
SportsGrid delivers gaming strategies and analysis 7 days a week.
The winning edge.
It's your advantage to more winning
more often.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
All right, back on Football Full Circle. Lisi and Kurtz breaking down the biggest games for week number 17 of the NFL. We left off talking about the big clash in Minnesota. Green Bay, 1.5-point road favorites over the Vikings. I lean to Green Bay in respect to the matchup, but I really like the points over 47.5, over 48 in the matchup. George, you're going to shock me. You're going to take the Vikings, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I love the cat out of the bag. I actually agree with you fully here. I'm that guy all season long. The two teams I probably haven't given their due respect to were the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. I just haven't truly believed. Now, Pittsburgh's sort of living up to that. Minnesota hasn't yet. They played much better than I thought here, but I do think they're a paper tiger. I think they're a paper tiger, Joe. I do. Maybe it's because I don't trust Sam Darnold. It's I don't trust really Aaron Jones. The offensive line is so-so. The defense, I think, can be passed on over and over. I think Green Bay is a better team. Now, it is in Minnesota. All right, and that's not an easy place to play, but it also means the elements aren't going to be involved here. All right, so that's great. Josh Jacobs looks great. All right, I think we might be talking about him more in detail, not like someone like Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry for what they've done. But Josh Jacobs has looked fantastic. So I'm with you. I am going to be going on the Green Bay Packers here, and I actually kind of like this a lot. But like I said, I'm the first person to say I haven't given Minnesota their love. I haven't. It seems like every week I'm picking against them. So, but I'm going to go with you. So I'm going to hope you're right. Go to Green Bay Packers. Great game, by the way, but give me Green Bay.
Right. All right, so let's break this down a little bit deeper. See, what you think. The last time they played, now for much of the regular season, Minnesota had the number 2 ranked rush defense in all of the NFL. At some point, I believe, when they played Indianapolis, they were only giving up around 75 rushing yards per game. They're playing at home, right? And you know as well as anybody, as Josh Jacobs goes, that's how the offense goes now. They're more of a run-heavy offense, physical. An offensive line could run it on will on multiple teams. We saw them take over the game the other night or 2 weeks ago against Seattle. Also saw them dominate New Orleans. They shut them out. Josh Jacobs with a huge first-half performance. If you're Minnesota, you want to take away Josh Jacobs, right? Still want to put the ball on Jordan Love's shoulders and say, beat us over the top. And they've been a little inconsistent. Even though Jordan Love is putting up numbers, he has been turnover prone at times. Jaden Reed has been hot or cold in specific matchups. Christian Watson a little bit banged up. Devontae Wicks has been, good, not great. So maybe, just maybe, Minnesota's approach is to take away the rushing attack, put it on the passing attack at Green Bay. And that's why I like the over here.
Yeah, I said I agree with everything you said there. As far as Christian Watson, by the way, he missed practice yesterday. We don't know yet today. It's on about 12:45 Eastern here, so we're still waiting to see what the practice report is on him today. And I don't know if it matters. All right, Watson, Reed, Wicks, Dobbs, you just don't know. You know who's going to be that guy game in and game out, which is, by the way, it can be good. It's good for Green Bay. It keeps Minnesota guessing. Bad for us because we don't know the guy to bet on. Right? Who's going to be that big breakout guy with Tucker Kraft? Someone like Luke Musgrave. So it drives us all insane to try and figure that out. You sort of said about Jordan Love, he's looked good. He's also made some brain-dead plays. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, what were you thinking? Which is a little surprising here. But I like Jordan Love in this game. I think he'll be fine. I think this game's going to go over. I think we're going to get points here. I'm not going to bank on which receiver, by the way. I pretty much have left that alone with Green Bay. You want to do that? Hey, good luck to you. I hope it works out. But I think you're reading it right, by the way, because if I'm Minnesota, I'm stopping doing my best to stop Josh Jacobs. Let's put the ball. It's a little dangerous to do that, but let's put the ball in Love's hands. But I'm not letting Josh Jacobs beat me. I'm just not. He's the best player on my team. I'm going to do the old Bill Belichick. I'm taking that away and force someone else to beat me.
Well, let me ask you this, because you said you didn't buy into Sam Darnold. If somehow, some way they run the table, right? They only have 2 losses on the regular. They're 15-2. They go to, let's say, the NFC Championship and lose. Let's just say they don't get over the hump. Are you coming back and allowing Sam Darnold to be your quarterback? What do you do? Or are you just going to hand the keys to J.J. McCarthy and potentially have a major rebuild?
Boy, this is why I'm glad I'm not a GM. This is a tough call, Joe. I think you have options here, right? Once again, option one, if you believe it's Sam Darnold, you could sign $50 million a year, right? I don't know, $150 million contract. Here we go. You can do that if you truly believe that. You could, Joe, franchise him, give yourself a year. It'll kill your cap, right? It's going to cost, 45, whatever it is for a franchise, but you could do that and give yourself a year to, once again, not only to judge Darnold, but also to judge McCarthy. Is he ready? Man. And by the way, that's also a big question. What did they see from McCarthy before he got hurt? Did they think he was going to be ready for week 1? Or was we don't know yet. So I think you need to answer that question right now. And I don't like doing this. But I think if I'm Minnesota, if I'm not completely sold on, if I'm sold on Donald, I'm signing him. All right, I don't care that I drafted McCarthy. I'll deal with that another time. I'm signing Donald. But if I'm not completely sold, I'm franchising him and I'm giving myself another year here. But under your scenario, he wins out, which means he beats Green Bay, beats Detroit next week, wins another game in the divisional, and then just happens to lose against, let's say, Philadelphia. I'm signing him. I think then Darnold would have proven by then, that, hey, he's a franchise quarterback. Here's $180 million. Here we go.
It is a crazy situation. And we talked about, the win now mentality, right? You draft rookie quarterbacks, the shelf life is basically 1 or 2 years. That's why Bryce Young was only given a short leash. This year they benched him. He comes back and now he's the face of the franchise again. And when you see Sam Darnold bounce around, he goes from the Jets to Carolina to San Francisco and now with Minnesota. You see the same out of Baker Mayfield. Had success at Cleveland, goes to Carolina, goes to the Rams. Now with Tampa, maybe, just maybe, George, they take a different approach and allow these quarterbacks to develop for 2 or 3 years.
It's what they should do. You put an excellent comparison. Baker Mayfield. Well, everybody gave up on him. Not all quarterbacks are going to hit in year 1 or year 2 in that system. Sometimes, Joe, it's always bothered me, and you're a much bigger college guy than I am, but when these pro teams take these college players and automatically, no, we don't care what you do best. You're going to learn my system, and you're going to do it my way.
Right.
Should it be the other way around? You do what they do best. You tailor your system to them for what they do. That's what made them successful. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand why pro coaches do that. That's why some players are better in different systems. That takes them a little while.
And that was the situation why Frank Reich did not like Bryce Young. He wanted Bryce to learn his system, not develop a system around his strengths. We'll come back and wrap it up right here on Football Full Circle.
Is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the tickets.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-797-1292. 800-797-1292. 800-797-1292. That's 800-797-1292.
Think of us as your cool roommate that has this innate gift of somehow always picking winners and never bugs you about doing the dishes or paying rent. Sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and George Kurtz.
Wrapping up Football Full Circle right here on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Lisi and Kurtz, we went through some of the biggest games. Throw out some other ones, George. What about the matchup on Sunday night, Atlanta and Washington? The situation with Michael Penix. Did you agree with the Kirk Cousins benching in favor of Penix? Because he's still going to have rookie growing pains, assuming they make it to the playoffs over Tampa. You're putting all your eggs in Michael Penix in a playoff situation as opposed to Kirk Cousins, who only has one playoff win under his belt. That's of marquee significance.
I thought this is a tough call. I thought Raheem Morris stones to make this move, by the way, because what you're saying is that hey, Cousins, you're terrible. You just suck. All right, you're so bad that I have to go to a rookie quarterback who's we're not talking about a top rookie. I have to go to a rookie quarterback that I know we're not beating anybody. All right, we're not winning. We're not going anywhere in the playoffs. We're not. Even if we get it, we're not going anywhere with Penix. It's going to take time. I also think it's some ways a smart move. Let's find out what Penix has. Let's find out what he has, what he can do here. He was. You look at the game last week. All right, it's against the Giants. Let's face it. We can put you in a quarterback, even with your throat, and you'll be just fine against the Giants.
500. I would throw for 500. Are you kidding? Dimes I would throw.
But he was solid. All right, he didn't throw any touchdown passes. Really didn't throw any interceptions either. Kyle Pitts, that's on you, that interception. Oh, here you go, Giants, have this ball. All right, that's not on Penix here. He can make every throw. He's got a good arm. But is he going to be able to beat anybody? I don't think they win Sunday night. I don't think they win Sunday night. In Washington, I think there'll be some points scored on the board here, but Washington, in Washington, it's a really rough spot. They flex this game to Sunday night. No, I think the Commanders will take care of business here. I don't think the Falcons are going to get in. I think this will cost them the playoff spot because I do think Tampa Bay is going to be Carolina. I think Tampa Bay plays New Orleans next week, I want to say. I think they'll win that game as well, so they'll get in over Atlanta. But I think, Morris, you probably did the right thing because I think the team was losing faith in Cousins. He just was awful. Awful for whatever reason. He was good for a while there, then just fell apart. So I think he made the right choice, but it will cost them a playoff spot.
Well, think about the teams that they potentially would meet in the first round if they were to get in. They're not beating a team like Green Bay. They're not beating a team like the LA Rams. He would have to put up dynamic numbers to go toe-to-toe with Jordan Love or Matt Stafford in a playoff type of situation, right? So, and then knowing that the division, he ain't beating the Eagles. He's not beating the Vikings. He's certainly not beating Detroit and Jared Goff. So this is it, right? We'll see how this plays out. But let me ask you this. On the flip side, is Washington, should they get in, could Jaden Daniels strike an upset or two in the course of the playoff run? Can they be a Cinderella? Can they be like Jordan Love and Green Bay last year where they upset Dallas and they almost pushed San Francisco to the limit? Can Washington be that team like Green Bay was last year?
I don't think they'd be a team you're dying to play, all right? Because Jaden Daniels makes that team dangerous, right? He had a match. Right. I mean, they had 17 turnovers last week. They should have lost the game. And if Jalen Hurts would have played, they would have lost the game, okay? Right. So things there. But they'd be an interesting squad. It'd be fun, right? They'd be fun. So do I think they could win? I mean, right now, the way the playoffs look, they're going to play Philadelphia round one. All right, you're not beating Philly. All right, it's just not in Philadelphia, not with a healthy Eagles team here. You're not beating them, but it doesn't matter because I think Matthew Berry, for those who don't know him, the big fantasy guy, is a huge Commanders fan, and he says it over and over again. They're playing with house money, and he's right. I'm a Cowboys fan. I hate when he says, but he's right because you already know you got your franchise quarterback. You're making the playoffs. You're getting big wins. You've had some big losses, but you're getting big wins as well here. The future is bright for Washington. Doesn't matter if you win the playoffs. You'll get another receiver next year. You'll help on the defense next year. As a Cowboy fan, this sucks because Washington, by the way, is now relevant again. So, no, I think they win Sunday night. I think they make the playoffs, but they're likely one and done. They lose to Philadelphia round one.
Don't be shocked if he strikes an upset. The biggest thing that Jaden Daniels can do is take a game over with his legs. In a playoff type of situation, that's the most difficult thing to really, contain. And I agree with you. It's going to be very difficult should they go up with the likes of Philadelphia. But there is a situation, right, where if Dallas does strike the upset and Washington win, can't Washington win the NFC East? Then what?
Philadelphia plays the Giants last week of the season. Not happening. Not happening. They're not losing to the Giants.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow on Football Full Circle for our great producer, Danny Ohlers and George Kurtz. I'm Lisi. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.
You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.